If a loved one died, a spouse, a child, a parent, generally that line of blood are the folks that would be deemed survivors under Florida's wrongful death statute. It's considered a wrongful death claim, and it's within the confines of medical malpractice. So any of those people can obtain medical records even before any further steps are taken to allow us to investigate the case. There's a simple document you sign as what's called next of kin to allow us to access medical records, allow us to obtain any autopsy records, toxicology. Sometimes these contacts have to be made before arrangements are made, because sometimes the medical examiner won't conduct an autopsy and we need to engage a private medical examiner to do so. It's sad to have to think about that, but there's countless times that we would not have been able to prove the case without conducting a private autopsy. If your parent is over a certain age and doesn't have a spouse, there's something called the free kill law. It's been on the books for a number of years. That's one thing that we have to investigate. If you are where you don't have a spouse and your children are over 25 years of age, their claims for their pain and suffering are not deemed equivalent by our legislature, although it comes up every session to try to pass it. Maybe one day it will be revised, but right now children who are considered adult survivors don't have a claim if their unmarried or widow or parent has passed on. It also works one other way. If you have a child and the child's not married and that child doesn't have children, but that child is over 25 years old, that child, likewise, you lose a child, which is one of the hardest things in the world, but it's an unmarried child with no kids of their own. The parent doesn't have that same claim for their loss that any other ordinary citizen in Florida would have if they lost their own child or they lost a spouse. We're here to make it easier because you're in a grieving period. And so we tend to talk as much about the situation as you at the moment in time can tolerate. We try to do our side of the case. We obviously want to be there to support you in any way, shape, or form we can, but we don't want to overburden you at a grieving time. So what we generally do is we cover all bases with the investigation we have to do, and we report it as frequently or less frequently as you like to give you that space and that time to grieve. We do ask you to keep as much memory as you can. Keep the room. Let me come visit with you and see how your loved one lived. Let me talk to you a little bit about some significant things in your life together so that we ultimately can put together a presentation that will show the effect it's had on you. And everybody grieves differently, so it's very important that you don't be shy about letting us talk to you. And if you need to get help to deal with your grief, everyone needs that person to listen to them, so it doesn't have to necessarily be your lawyer, but it can be sometimes. If you've had a loved one that has passed away and it's a sudden unexpected death when they were getting some form of treatment, if you have any questions, contact us, because there's a whole array of things that could have happened that you may not have any knowledge of. So if you have any questions whatsoever, contact us here at Fair and Fair and let us take a look, and we'll tell you what we think.